Well, I'm not sure why I keep doing this to myself, but I keep committing to these crazy, long, epic bike rides that require me to get up extremely early.
Hi team, I'm Sid.
And I'm Macky.
For the past 6 years, we've been racing mountain bikes professionally.
And living out of our van.
On this channel, we're sharing those adventures with you.
All of them.
So hit subscribe and join the team.
It is just before 5 o'clock. I'm getting in the car and heading to Los Alamos for an epic tour of Los Alamos trails that my friend predicted will take somewhere in the 9 to 10 hour range. I made it to Pajarito. Alex is getting ready. I've got my kit on. I need to go grab my bike, and I think we're gonna head out. It's about 7 o'clock, which is what we were shooting for, so that's good. And I have to say, one of the most interesting things to me is that after doing my Everesting, I'm just like, epic rides? Sure, sounds good. Like, why not? That sounds fun. And that's like, I don't know. I mean, I've always been up for epic rides, don't get me wrong, but especially after Everesting, I'm like, oh, go do the Enchanted Circle Century? Sure, sounds good. Like, go do 50 miles in Pajarito? Sure, sounds awesome. And I think that's a cool thing about like spending some time training for a big event is then things that are going to take less time than that just don't feel quite as ridiculous, and you're much more likely to be like, sure, let's do it. That'll be really fun. It's a cool adventure. So it's like adventure training.
Sweet, well, I'll follow you, man.
Our first trail of the day was Perimeter Trail, which I'd ridden years before at an enduro race in Los Alamos. I'd forgotten how fun it was with lots of little rolls and jumps and some great corners. Considering it isn't especially steep, you carried great speed, and I was glad we rode it early in the morning when there was no one else on the trail and we could ride at full speed. As a local, Alex knows all the fun lines, and it was a blast following him down it.
Man, that's fun.
Kind of a bonus for today also.
Yeah.
Not one of the main ones we're looking for, but just like a sweet connector.
The rock out here always gets me. Like, I just don't expect stuff that looks like, I don't know, slick rock sort of,
Definitely.
to exist.
Yeah.
After Perimeter, we hit our first big climb of the day, the Three Bears.
Please tell me that was the second bear.
We're still on it.
No? Okay.
That was the worst part.
Okay. Alex was just telling me that this climb is called the Three Bears because there are 3 pitches that are a real bear to climb, I assume.
Yeah.
Is the background of the name. Okay. You can see the end.
Yep.
We crested the top as the sun was coming up and the view was awesome. Then after a short road descent, we hit a trail I'd never ridden before, Cabra, which descends through a canyon with some technical rocky sections and some decent exposure. It was classic New Mexico technical single track.
Woohoo! Oh, that descent's awesome!
Downhill from here.
Sweet. Yikes. Oh, brutal. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, this is like a cool, man. I don't know, like maybe 1 out of 5.
Yeah. The last aspens.
Yep.
Hanging in there.
At the bottom of Cabra, we started climbing again and eventually connected back onto Perimeter and headed the opposite direction, climbing the section we descended at the beginning of our ride. We then continued to follow Perimeter around town until we hit Pipeline Road, which marked the start of our second big climb of the day. Pipeline Road is a brutal climb, exposed, steep, and loose, with a couple sections I ended up hiking because I decided it wasn't worth getting back on my bike after spinning out in the gravel.
Oh no! Come on! Yeah. Traction, please! Nope. Woohoo! Man, that climb got me.
Despite all that, the climb is worth it because it gets you to the top of Quemazon, one of my favorite trails in northern New Mexico. What makes Quemazon so unique is that it has big sections of sandstone, the kind of rock you find in Moab and Sedona and don't usually see in New Mexico. Many of these sandstone sections have bulldozer tracks from attempts to create fire breaks during a couple bad fires in the last 30 years. Unfortunately, the fire breaks were unsuccessful and the area burned badly a number of times, so there are tons of fallen trees and the dirt is gray and full of ash. You'll also notice that any remaining tall trees are dead, and the only color is from a few small pines and some groves of young aspen that have their fall colors on full display.
Man, did you feel a kamikaze chipmunk?
A chipmunk? No.
No.
Did I hit one?
So here.
Did I scare one?
No, you hit him.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was so he like darts out. And as you're going by, he changes his mind, turns around and runs into your wheel, your back wheel. It hits him. He flips 360 in the air, lands and takes off between your bike and my bike.
Oh my God. Maybe you got the shot.
Tell me about this bell, because I've noticed that sometimes it rings and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the timber bell, and it's got this little switch on here.
Okay.
That right now it's in
active
mode, and then just switch it up and
oh,
yeah,
nice.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, did not make that one smooth like Alex did. There. Oh man, so good. Air high five for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, doggy. Dang, I love that trail.
Yeah.
So fun.
That's so good.
After Quemazon, we headed to the other side of town and began a 3,000-foot climb all the way to the top of Pajarito Bike Park, topping out just over 10,300 feet.
You guys might have noticed that my GPS is not here. Unfortunately, I forgot it, but Alex has a GPS. So how long and far have we gone so far?
Let's see, we're 19 miles in.
Okay, 19 miles.
And 3,500 feet.
3,500 feet. And how long have we been out?
Been out for 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours, okay. So at this point, we are climbing up to Pajarito ski area. And then we're gonna climb basically to the top of the ski area.
It was a tough climb, made even harder by the fact that Alex skipped the paved road up to the resort and instead had us climb single track.
Yep, good, I'm with you. Nope, this looks great. Seems like a perfect one to hike.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't do the trail that often, but I have tried this before. I don't think I've ever cleaned it.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Kind of a little techy move when it's just like the easiest.
Yeah. All right, Pajarito Ski Resort.
Oh, yeah.
Guess we just have to get to the top of it now.
Shreddy.
From the top of Pajarito, we descended Dogpatch, one of Paja's black trails with plenty of tight turns, lots of rocks, and even a couple fun drops at the bottom.
Oh yeah, good line. Sorry about that.
Then we headed back down the single track that we had climbed up, including Camp May Trail, one of the few that I knew well enough to lead.
Yeah. Woo!
Tucked the front wheel a little too hard.
Yeah.
All right, am I glad to see this car or what?
Oh my God.
Where's my burritos?
We took a break for lunch, then headed up climb number 4, Canon del Valle.
All right, we're at 6.5 hours, and Alex says we have 2 more climbs. One which is about 1,500 or 2,000,
Yeah.
and one which is about 800. I admit I'm starting to ask myself why I keep getting myself into these kind of rides. I feel like, you know, last year we had some big days at BC Bike Race, but they were like 3 or 4 hours. And all of a sudden this year, I've done a 18-hour, a 7-hour, 100-mile road ride, and now it's gonna be like a 50-ish 10-hour ride. You'd think I like to torture myself or something. All right, now we're climbing up Canon del Valle, which is funny because it translates to Canyon of the Valley. As far as I'm concerned, is the same thing. Settle in, keep the legs spinning, keep drinking water, and since it's an out and back, try to get an idea of what the trail looks like so we can rip this descent, which is gonna be fun. Wow, still getting some awesome colors in this canyon. All right, now we're probably a little over 8 hours in, and I am seriously considering my life decisions. Like why I don't have a way smaller chainring on this bike. Questioning of my decision-making capabilities. All right, Alex said the top was at a dried up cow watering hole. It looks a lot like a dried up cow watering hole to me.
We rode this trail as an out and back, so I thought I'd know what the descent was going to look like, but I was wrong, and was reminded that most trails feel completely different when you ride them the opposite direction. Fortunately, Alex knows the trail and I was able to follow his lines and not worry about missing any corners.
Wee-haw! That's a fun one.
That was awesome.
For sure. Cool. 8.5. Just a chill little 8.5 hour ride. It's not a big deal.
What's next?
Only one. Yeah, come on. Let's go do it again. All right, this is the start of our last climb. Alex says 800-ish feet vert.
Yeah.
The last part of our ride included 2 more trails I didn't even know existed. American Springs, another beautiful climb with lots of yellow aspen.
I'm getting solidly into creaky bicycle territory.
And then a fun descent down Water Canyon.
So are you telling me that this is the top of our climb?
This is the summit. Dude.
Now we get to go down.
Now we get to go down. We do have some.
Yes!
Yeah,
High five.
So
Air
good.
high five. So stoked.
Yeah. With a bar or...
Didn't get my foot out fast enough.
Okay. All good?
Yep. Yeah, just for those two little rock sections back there, I was like, man, I'm glad we're not riding Quemazon now. We're saved.
Then it was a quick 30-minute spin back to the car, and that was it.
There we go, 10 hours, 9 minutes, 52.18 miles. As I mentioned, I question all of my life decisions, but then I finish a ride like this and I'm like, wow, that was totally worth it, totally awesome. Would I do it again? Yeah. Tomorrow? Definitely not.